Welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live, an unusual Friday night episode. Yes. And as you can see, it's just me, and I'm here to rock and roll with y'all and kick it and drop the knowledge the way I can only do it, right? So I will, as always, give a couple of minutes and let some people get in, see what we got here in the chat, and then we will go from there. But in the meantime, while you're waiting, you know what time it is. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept aware anytime we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you enjoy the content as you listen, make sure you give us a like, a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And write it down, put it in your phones, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the podcast and you want to help the show continue to grow, make sure you go ahead, click that join button, join the channel. We're going to have some exclusive content just for you. Let's go to, here's the next one, right? This one, I thought, Kyrie versus Spider. That would be real good. Yeah, that's a good one, G. Absolutely. Spider Michelin versus Kyrie Irving. That'd be official. All right, here's one that I really wanted to discuss, right? This is, as you can see by the thumbnail, NBA versus NHL Mindset. And I thought this was really interesting. And I got a lot of sound on this, right? So basically, kind of what happens is I didn't even realize until after the weekend was over that the NHL, the National Hockey League, had their All-Star weekend the same time as the NBA did. And the NBA was having issues with the NBA, as we know, has been having issues with All-Star viewership. I think this past one was the second lowest viewership ever, second lowest. And the NHL was having issues with theirs as well. Now, I'm not a hockey aficionado. I don't really watch hockey like that. I will watch it from time to time, but again, I'm not an aficionado. I know that this kid, Connor McDavid from Edmonton, he is a damn beast. And they're saying like he could be that next guy, right? So anyway, what the NHL did, and I'm wondering who came up with it first. So they had like a 14 tournament as well, but I think they call it it's like a tournament of nations, right? So a kind of international tournament. And what ended up happening is United States and Canada played either on Saturday or Sunday, and the Canadians were booing during the American national anthem. So immediately, as soon as the game started, fights broke out. And we know in hockey, guys are actually allowed to fight. They go to the penalty box, take their 5-minute penalty or whatever it is. Then they come back and play again, which I think is pretty freaking cool, right? I think that's good. But, I mean, obviously you can't really allow that like that in basketball because hockey is a game that's so much more built on physicality. But it allows men to be men. It allows testosterone to flow. And it is a game that's just, ingrained in the culture of hockey. Hockey is a game where toughness abounds. It's a game where you have to have that, right? Even more so now than American football, right? They used to be kind of on the same level, but maybe not quite so much anymore. But American football is probably the closest thing you can get to hockey. So anyway, they had this thing. And so the Canadians and the U.S. played. And I think, I can't remember who won. But anyway, Thursday night, the Canadians and the U.S. played again in the finals. And Canada beat the United States 3-2. In overtime. But that's kind of to be expected, right? Canada is the best hockey country in the world. At times it might be Russia, at times it might be Sweden or Finland. Those guys really produce a lot of great NHL level players, but Canada is, that's hockey country right there. So that's to be expected. But anyway, the point is there is I was about to say African American, but there is a former NHL player who's Afro-Canadian, and his name is PK Subban and he had some very interesting comments. He was on ESPN. So he was on Get Up during the week. And immediately following that, he was on ESPN First Take. And he made a lot of comments that kind of, I would say, maybe almost set the internet on fire. And personally, I really liked it. So I want to go over some of his comments. We have about maybe 6.5 minutes of his comments, 2 separate segments, the one from Get Up first, and then the one from First Take. So we'll listen to those. We'll talk about them as they go. And then we will hear Kevin Garnett, the great KG, who is one of the toughest, most intense players we know in the history of the NBA. And he had some commentary on his show. KG certified. And yeah, so I thought it was real interesting. And I thought it just highlighted the dichotomy, man, and kind of where the NBA has fallen off in terms of physical and mental toughness and so on and so forth. But we'll listen to what they have to say, and then we will come back and discuss it. So Edward says, before we even get started, Bruce, NHL players are not good as well. NHL players not making nowhere near the same amount NBA players. He's trying to get the ratings up, talking about his sport. So two things can be true, Edward. Maybe that's true. But wait, what? Oh, NHL ratings aren't good. I thought you said NHL players aren't good. Yeah, so two things can be true, Edward. So you may be right in that. NHL players aren't making what NBA players are, and that's fine. And NHL ratings are hurting, but that doesn't mean that there was no value to what he was saying, right? That doesn't mean that. So anyway, we will start, and we'll start listening to what PK had to say. As usual, I'll do my thing. I'll pop in, make commentary, pop back out, and we'll go from there. All right, 1 second here. How does it keep going to the end? All right, bear with me one moment. All right, here we go, guys.
Well, listen, hockey's a different sport from the NBA. You can't compare the cultures because of the way the game is played. You can step on an NBA floor and go through the emotions. You can't do that in hockey. You can't. Like the culture of our sport, you have to play it with passion. You have to be willing to fight. You have to be willing to leave it on the ice. That's what fans are investing in. So for us, when we charge $1,500 for a ticket to come to Fortnite, fans know what they're getting. Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the world, wasn't in the lineup for this game. This was the most viewed game that we've had in years. And you see it, it's because it's not just based on the skill and talent. It's based on the pride, honor, playing for the guy next to you. I got a question for the NBA players. What the hell are you playing for?
I like that. What are you playing for? And I think that's a great question in terms of what he asked the NBA players. So I guess it's money, right? Because we heard, I think it was after last All-Star game, either before or last, they asked, I don't know if it was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they asked, what can be done to make guys play harder and make the game better. And I think he said, bigger bonuses or something to that effect. And I'm like, really? He's saying this as he's wearing some like gigantic fur coat or whatever? Like, these dudes are already getting I'm not trying to put a cap on their better pocket watch, but I say it to say that, as we know, athletic earnings are public knowledge, right? They're out there. These guys are getting hundreds of millions of dollars on the high end, but they're still talking about we need more money to play hard. Like, seriously, you got to be incentivized to compete? Like, that's crazy. If you're an elite player, like, you should want to compete. You should live to compete. You should live to destroy the other dude and show that you're the best. But no, this modern generation of NBA, it's not built like that. But let's continue to listen.
What are you playing for? It's not about the money. You make all the money. What, you're injured? Well, there's a difference between being hurt and injured. Are you hurt or are you injured? There's a difference. In hockey, we play hurt. We play injured. That is the culture of the sport.
So let me respond to that, right? Here's kind of the thing. And this is problematic for me, right? Because a lot of us, we like to get on the NBA players in terms of load management and not wanting to play and so on and so forth. But this is something I found out in talking to somebody that I know that's very familiar with going-ons inside the NBA. And again, there's two ways to look at this. There's always two sides, right? But what he told me is that in most cases, guys want to play, but it's the teams that are forcing load management on them and telling them to sit out, which I find to be very interesting, right? Because this is supposed to be what? The player empowerment era. Thank you, LeBron. This is supposed to be the player empowerment era. So if this is the player empowerment era, then players have more power than they've ever had before. So if they want to play, they should be able to tell these organizations, yo, I'm going to play, right? They shouldn't have to sit back because the team is telling them that they're not going to play tonight. That doesn't sound like it makes a whole lot of sense to me in the, again, quote unquote, player empowerment era. That doesn't add up. So that's just my thought on that. Real quick interlude. Make sure if you're here in the chat and you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button and hit the share button. Let's try to get some more people in here. This is definitely that'll definitely help the show grow. But yes, back to the topic.
It's always been that way. So you want to talk about the business, the CBA, fans get all of that. But what do fans resonate with? They resonate with what's real. You got to fight sometimes for your country. You got to compete. You got to go out there and leave it on the ice because those people are paying the price of admission. So fans know whether our stars are on the ice or not, they're getting their money's worth.
So the problem, I think, with the NBA, if you want to call it a problem, is it's almost like if you have let's say a bad kid or a bad pet, right? A dog. You're like, I'm trying to train my puppy right now, and he does the wrong thing, but I don't reprimand him and I give him a treat. I reward him, right? He's going to do it and think that that's okay. He's going to continue doing the bad thing. And this is what I say, like the NBA, the ratings have been down. The viewership has been down. The fans have been complaining. The athletes of the past generations have been complaining for years now. But guess what? The NBA just got rewarded with a giant record $77 billion 11-year new TV deal. And what does that do? That makes the salary caps increase, right? That makes the player salaries increase. That makes the owners make more money. So why should any of the above be concerned with going all out and going hard and competing on that level that will take us back to when the NBA was at its best? They're not, because why? They've been rewarded for the subpar, lackluster behavior. So, it doesn't make any sense. But let's go ahead here.
The NBA has that issue that they got to work on. You got to create a better culture for your players. It starts with the leaders. This issue, there was no issue when Jordan was around. There was no issue when Kobe was around. There's no issue when Sidney Crosby's around. There's no issue when Wayne Gretzky was around, because those are true leaders. They lead by example. Sidney Crosby, Hockey Canada, those players, both Canada and U.S., it was the players that did that for the four nations. It's not the league. The league set it up, but the players went out there and decided and said, you know what, boys? We're all in. When is the NBA going to do that? Because, I haven't sat down and watched the NBA consistently since Kobe. Since Kobe has died, I have not sat down and watched the NBA consistently.
And I'll tell you what, he's not the only one that feels that way. Like, I've heard a lot of people say that, since Kobe passed away, God bless the dead, and pretty much since he retired, that he was basically the last of a dying breed, like the last one that was really cut from that ilk. And when they saw Ant Edwards playing the way he was playing, and they saw that as a kind of throwback to the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant type player, and that's why they're so desperately hoping that he will accept that mantle of being the face of the league, but that he has made clear he doesn't want, because they're looking for that type of player, because that type of player not only inspires fans, but inspires other players with their leadership and with their tough nose and with their hard nosedness, right? So with everything that LeBron has accomplished, and as great as his career has been, and I'm not going to put this all at his feet, but he is the progenitor of this player empowerment movement and the player empowerment era. He does bear some blame in this. It's not all on him, but he does bear some blame. And so that's what PK Subban is saying. Now, don't get me wrong, PK Subban also doesn't seem to understand that the hockey culture and the basketball culture are two totally different things, worlds apart. So kind of like apples to oranges, you can't compare them directly, but I get what he's trying to say and what he's so passionate about as a former professional athlete, because at the end of the day, and I've talked about this as well, it's about competition. It's about competition. And so what happens is you need to you got to freaking compete, man. And that's all there is to it. Oh, my main man, G. Wow. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. That's love. That's love. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. G with the monster super sticker, $49.99. Appreciate that. That's big. That's big. That's big moves, man. Thank you, brother. But yeah, so when you look at it, you see, yeah, they should have let you pick for real. You'd have lined them up. But yeah, that's the thing. So I get what PK Subban is saying, coming from not just somebody who is like me, a talking head sitting behind a microphone, or, just some random person, but a person who actually was a professional athlete and played the game, at the highest level. Obviously not a Hall of Fame level or whatever, but when I say the highest level, I mean the professional level, because less than 1%, I'm using the NBA and the NFL model, less than 1% of all players will eventually make it to the pros, right? So when we say the highest level, we mean playing as a professional. And so, when you look at that, we get it. We get why he's so passionate about it, because he literally gave the blood, sweat, and tears to get to that level. And then he gave the blood, sweat, and tears to stay at that level for however long he was there. And so he can't understand for the life of him why, the NBA players aren't built like that. But again, you've rewarded a bad child for misbehaving. And so what do you expect? And also, again, being fair, they're two totally different cultures. Let's see. Your favorite hater says, problem is players don't have the fire to improve. You think LeBron is working on beating Jokic? So here's the deal. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. However, as his athleticism has to some extent waned, right? Now, he'll never be a normal athlete. He'll always be an elite athlete. But as it has waned, I got to be fair here that LeBron, you see his mid-range jumper has improved. I still wouldn't call it reliable, but it has improved, as well as his three ball has improved a great deal over the last couple of years. So I gotta admit that. All right. Where were we? Let's go back to PK's commentary.
Love basketball. Love the players. I think LeBron's great. I think KD's great. Steph Curry, love watching them. But you got to be on the court. You got to be there. And when you're there, you got to go all in. The fans got to feel that they're getting their money's worth. And right now, there's a big difference between what the NHL's doing with those events and what the NBA's doing. Four Nations works because the players are all in. Mm-hmm. They're all in.
All right. So here's the deal. He keeps comparing it. I guess he's comparing like the NBA All-Star game or the NBA general mentality to the NHL and that Four Nations thing they put together, right? But here's the deal. When you talk about Four Nations, again, I want to be fair here. That's a bit disingenuous because now you're involving patriotism in this thing, right? And obviously, we know that the United States and Canada have a big hockey rivalry. Canada knowing that it's their game, United States trying to usurp them and take over that game. Right. So they have a big hockey rivalry. It helps that they're immediate neighbors. Canada's our immediate, neighbor to the north. And so you're looking at it and you're saying, well, this rivalry is there, but you're also involving patriotism. So like that's why you're seeing a difference in the intensity level in the Four Nations tournament. Now, remember what Giannis said. Giannis has been saying for a couple of years now that he would like to see a United States versus the world, U.S. versus international game type thing. Now, I guarantee you, if they did that, we would see like super level of intensity in the All-Star game because the U.S. is not going to want to lose and the internationals are going to want to show. They're going to want to show the U.S. up and say, hey, we've taken over, right? Because if you look at it, like, for instance, last year, 4 out of 5 first-team All-NBA players were international players. I think Tatum was the only American. Yes, Tatum was the only American. But the point is, we've seen this over the last few years that the international players have been kind of at the top of the MVP voting. They're winning the MVPs, and they're dominating generally in the first team All-NBA selection. So all this stuff is like real, but I guarantee you again that if they actually were to do this United States versus international, you would see an immediate, and I'm talking about immediate ramp up of the level of intensity because the US would not want to lose. All right. So now that was PK Subban talking on ESPN Get Up. So later on that morning, he was on First Take. And I think he was even more passionate. So let's hear what he had to say there.
I did hear what everybody had to say, and I will say this. To me, it's offensive. As you guys saw in Get Up, obviously I was emotional about speaking because I'm speaking on behalf of the players, right? As a newly removed athlete out of the sport. And to me, it's offensive to the approach, to my approach to the game, but also the players that I know, that I was around, that I idolized. It's offensive to the way that they approached the game. And in this sport, in hockey, you can't approach the game any other way because you will get hurt. It's not an option to go out and compete. It's not an option to be willing to fight. You have to do those things in our sport, and you have to do those every night. Now, the question is, why isn't that demand on the NBA players every night? I mean, that's a question I can't ask because here's the reality. Does it come down to rule changes and what the NBA wants to do to protect themselves? No, I don't even give them that out. I'll go back to this. Obviously we know about Wilt Chamberlain and some of the guys that started earlier on before my time. But to me, the NBA took off with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. They set the tone for Michael Jordan, then ultimately Kobe Bryant, then LeBron, Steph, KD, and all those guys now.
All right, so I like a lot of what PK is saying here, but I think now he's starting to mix two different things, right? Um, I already told you, man, Tatum will never be the face of the league because he has no personality. Listen, I think he's a very good player. I think he's an excellent player. I think he's a great player, but he'll never be the face of the league. So you got nothing to worry about there. And man, your Tatum thing is crazy. But anyway, I like what PK Subban has to say here. But I think what he's doing is conflating two different things. Like, one is the mentality that is necessary in the NBA, but then he's conflating that with the way he wants him to play, which, again, I don't know if I'm sure Stephen A addressed this. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I just got Subban's comments, but you cannot attempt to play basketball like you play hockey. It's just two different games. Like, the physicality that's allowed in hockey and the way that game is played, which creates a vehicle for said physicality, it's just not available in basketball. You can't. Even when basketball was at its most physical, and realistically, most basketball fans don't want to see it going back to that, right? Now, would I be cool with it going back to the 90s? Yes. Not the 80s, taking guys out the air, clotheslining people and all that, but the 90s, good physical elite defense. But guess what? I've said this time and time again, Adam Silver, the owners, they all know that these players today would be exposed if they got subjected to 90s defense. We all know that. So that's never going to happen, right? That's never going to happen. These players, they're not built for that. They're not created for that. They're not coached for that from the lowest levels. They can't deal with it. But it's two different things. So I totally get where PK is going with this, but he's just a little off in his assessment. Let's continue.
But Larry Bird and Magic Johnson carved the path for Kobe, for Jordan, for LeBron. So for this generation now, my question is, are you carving a better path? Are you leaving a better league for the future of the NBA, or are you not? And that's why I'm all in on hockey, because these guys, year after year, decade after decade, it's been a slow process in growing the game. Yes, it's not growing. It didn't grow as fast as we wanted to get to this point. But why is that? Because the team aspect. No one's bigger than the game.
All right, a couple things here. So first, Edward, I did not say that was defense. Don't misquote me. What I said was that was physicality. There's a difference. I didn't say that was defense. I said that was physicality. What we saw in the 90s, early 2000s to mid 2000s, that was defense. What we saw in the 90s, in the late 80s, that was a bit much what the bad boys were doing. All right, cool. So so I think that's the difference that we're talking about. Now, I do find something interesting, though. I find it interesting that PK lumps LeBron, one of the most physically gifted, one of the biggest, strongest guys in the history of the league, but mentally weakest, in with the Kobes and the Mikes and the Magics and the Larrys. I found that really weird because, as I said earlier, again, LeBron is the progenitor of this era of softness and player empowerment, etc. So I find it interesting that PK lumped him in there. But I guess even though he's really going in attack mode on the NBA, you can't go too hard, because if you attack LeBron directly, it's not going to last very long. ESPN will probably cut your mic or something.
And I've had coming into hockey, being a guy who has personality, different interests, I was up against that. But that's a strong part of the culture we don't want to change. And we might be the strongest in all the sports with the team aspect. But now what we're seeing is it all on this platform now. So for the NBA, my question is for those players, are you leaving a better league than what you came into? Because I'll tell you something, for KD, for LeBron, Steph, all the money that they're making came on the backs of Magic Johnson, of Larry Bird, of Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, all these guys. So, you got to keep that in mind.
So I like that he said that, right? Because that's something we've talked about here on this show, right? Here we go, your favorite hater. No, that's something we've talked about on this show, is that those guys that came before are the ones who laid the path, built the foundation for these guys now to be able to make the type of money they're making. And for them to be so blatantly disrespectful is confounding to me, when those guys made it so that they could get all this bread that they're getting for doing less, right? They're literally getting paid more for doing less. and yet they're still disrespectful to those guys from the past. It is amazing. But we know why they're disrespectful to those guys from the past. They're doing it for a very simple reason. They have to tear those guys down to prop themselves up. Because if we go back and really watch and pay attention, it's going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. They had a tougher time, but they were still doing it. They were still out there, badge of honor, playing 80 plus games, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll talk some more about that in terms of the badge of honor piece when Kevin Durant comes on with his, not Kevin Durant, Kevin Garnett, when we play his comments next. But yeah, this was, I like PK, I do. But you can also tell, in fairness, he has a tremendous amount of bias to his sport, which is, to be expected, right? He's a hockey player. And I think he's just frustrated, and probably realistically, there's some jealousy involved there, because he's saying, look at these guys. They don't have to go through what we go through. They're softer than we are. They're making so much more money. They're so much more revered. Although I don't know necessarily, maybe in Canada, hockey players are probably very, very famous, like basketball players are here. I would presume so, because that's their national sport. But still, I doubt even up there in the NHL, they're making the type of money. I'm almost positive they're not, that the type of that NBA players are making here. And so I'm sure there's a little bit of consternation, maybe a little bit of jealousy. I don't want to use that term because I don't know the guy, but it sounds like there's some frustration, and that, all that kind of wrapped up along with the bias towards the love of his sport, which he played professionally. You can clearly hear it in his commentary, but let's continue.
How we value greatness. It's not just about rings, and it's not just about on the court. As an athlete, yeah, I value those things. But the reason why I followed Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant was because of their approach to their craft.
Now, real quick, we talk about this all the time. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, approach to their craft, that desire to dominate, that desire to master the minutia, every little thing, that desire to be the greatest possible basketball player they can be, putting in the work, the hard hours, without cheating at the game, without cutting the corners, without doing all those other things, right? Mastering their skill set to be the best player they can possibly be. Kobe, he entered the league believing that when he was done, he would be the best player of all time. He believed he was legitimately, notice the term I'm using, legitimately going to chase down Michael Jordan and prove that he was better than him, right? No corner cutting, no, okay, I'm going to do it by stats, I'm going to do it by rings, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get there. No. But by maximizing every bit of talent that he had in his body, by becoming the best player he possibly could be, and by overtaking the dude that most people believe is the GOAT. He didn't get there. He got close, but he didn't get there. And so I think that's a totally different thing. And now you're hearing an athlete from another sport entirely, speaking to Kobe and Mike. And this is not unusual. We've heard this multiple times from multiple people. And, here we go again. Notice the name that he doesn't mention on that.
They never took a day off. They left it all on the court. It didn't matter whether it was an exhibition game or a playoff game. I don't know. That's the standard of greatness for me in every sport. So when I see players doing it that don't have the talent, maybe aren't superstars, I'm willing to pay for that. But here's the thing about hockey. We got the stars. And guess what? They're on the ice. They're giving everything they have every night, no matter what we're doing. So that's got to be the standard for greatness across sports for me.
Okay, so I loved what PK had to say there. So Michael Jordan, just to put a pin in his comments, what did he say? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, the standard across sports for him. I don't think it can get any simpler than that. And if we're real, who's the All-Star trophy named after? The All-Star Game MVP trophy named after? Kobe Bryant. Who's the regular season MVP trophy named after? Michael Jordan. Reason for all that. I'm just saying. All right. At the end of the day, NBA will overcome the NHL. Edward, you're missing the point. This is not about a head-to-head face-off between the NHL and the NBA. That's not at all the point that we're talking about. We're talking about the mentalities of the athletes and of said leagues. That's what we're talking about. Don't try to move the goalpost, man. You're being disingenuous. Don't do that. All right. Let's hear what Kevin Garnett had to say in response to PK Subban. And these were some I like the way he framed this, and he actually made some solid commentary in response. Now, obviously, we know KG is he's going to have to protect his league as well, right? Because he's a Hall of Fame basketball player. Basketball is his love. Basketball got him out of the hood as well. Basketball provided him a tremendous amount of lift in his quality of life, et cetera, et cetera. So he's going to defend that, and rightfully so. I would expect nothing less. But yeah, let's go ahead and hear what he had to say.
Man, did y'all see the kid who was talking about the hockey shit? Did y'all see that discussion?
Oh, Church was just telling me about it.
Yeah, I forgot the kid's name. He does a good job with, I don't mean to call him a kid. He's a grown man. Shout to him. But I saw what he said about, I see he was making points on the NHL and how it's growing. Shout out to the NHL and hockey. Yeah, then he was just going at the league. And, hockey's dope, man. But, yeah, when I think about connection, at least with audience, at least in America, man, you got to have somebody that, at least from our culture, or somebody from culture, bro. If you ain't got no culture in your sport, bro, it's hard to actually penetrate any kind of following that's in America, bro. You got to have something that, you know what I'm saying, that kind of reflects fan and the people that are watching, And hockey don't reflect that.
Okay, so I think I'm getting to some extent understanding what he's trying to say when he says reflect the culture in America. But here's the deal. That doesn't really stand up for me, because I'm assuming the culture to which he's referring in America is the African-American culture, right? Because as we know, there's obviously a minimal African-American presence in the sport of hockey. And a lot of that is socioeconomic, right? A lot of places where Black people live, there's not a lot of ice rinks available. And, skates cost money, and all that equipment costs money, and training and traveling and all that stuff, right? When it comes to basketball, you can hoop darn near anywhere, right? And so I totally get that. So I think it's similar to the reason why you're not seeing a lot of young Black people playing baseball, right? Because those showcases and all that stuff, it's expensive. And so Black people are often priced out of certain sports, right? Whether it's swimming, right? Not a lot of public pools or swim programs in predominantly African-American areas, right? Minority areas. So swimming, fencing, and all the Olympic sports, basically. And of course, hockey, right? So you're not going to see that. So I think KG is a little off here. And also, even if, let's say that stuff was readily available in minority communities. Now, again, he's referring to this culture, and I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming he is referring to African Americans. African Americans are still only 12% of the 12.5% of the United States populace. So, even if it was, that's still realistically probably not enough to make the dent that you're looking for. So I'm not sure why you're bringing up this culture thing, but let's go on to what he's saying. No, young disciple, I don't think that's what he's saying. I don't think that's what he's saying at all. And also remember, the guy that was talking, PK Subban, that's a brother, right? I don't know if you heard me. That's an Afro-Canadian guy who played professional hockey. So I don't know if maybe the assumption was that was a white guy talking. No, that was a brother that plays hockey. So, yeah.
Papa Jones' kids are in hockey. Shout out to the Jones family. But we never hear about them. You know what I'm saying? I know hockey's having this big-ass tournament going on, and it seems like fighting is the precedent, right?
Yeah, it's the tournament's called Four Nations, and it's
Four Nations, but yeah. I'm just saying it's being ran by these guys. Like U.S. and Canada ain't fought. I think the most they fought was like 4 times in the last some years, and then all of a sudden there was like 10 fights that broke out.
So remember what I said earlier, the reason that we had the fights in the first game between U.S. and Canada is because I guess the Canadian hockey fans at that game, they were booing when the United States anthem was played. And, most countries are extremely patriotic. We know America is extremely patriotic, as it should be, right? Every country, you should be patriotic, rooting for your own. So when you have two things, right? You have a perceived disrespect to your nation and your national anthem, and then you combine that with a situation where fighting is basically legal and, not frowned upon. Well, you're going to have a situation where fights are going to break out. So I don't know if he knows kind of the background behind that, or if he just knows that there was fighting. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Yeah, young disciple. Absolutely. PK Subban, look him up. He's a brother. Matter of fact, after we get done here, just hit YouTube and look up PK Subban, ESPN. You'll see. Yeah, he's a brother. darker than me, matter of fact.
Where the guys text each other. Well, let me say this, bro. Apples, oranges, pears, grapes, I like them all. They all got seeds. They all are under fruit. You know, this thing of professional sports, man, it's all about what you like. But I just hate when, I didn't like how he was trying to bash the league. You know, first off, man, we play for pride, play for legacy, we play for namesake, always, like any other athlete in any sport, right? There, man, I get it, man, when players don't, you know, not necessarily don't play, but when they have injuries and they sit out, I don't think people understand the goal here. The goal with the league is the longevity.
All right, couple things here. So first, I don't think PK was trying to bash the NBA. I don't think that. I think what he was doing was, again, speaking from the vantage point, not saying KG is not. Of course, KG is an all-time great in his sport. PK is not an all-time great in his sport. But PK was speaking from the vantage point of a guy who made it to the professional level, grinded, worked extremely hard, and sees guys that he sees. I'm going to attempt to speak for him here, although I shouldn't, but based on what I heard from his commentary, I think he's speaking on guys in the NBA that he sees as entitled and not living up to and playing up to the level that their contracts should demand and that their fans should demand. I think that's the thing. Now, longevity. So this is interesting, right? This is very interesting. There you go, your favorite hater. You hear KG talking about the longevity piece, right? In trying to defend the fact that a lot of times NBA players sit out, don't play, injured, so on and so forth. This is where I get frustrated. Now, I'm not saying guys don't have a right to change their mind over time when information is presented. I'm not saying that. However, if we remember just last summer, after Anthony Edwards' incendiary comments talking about how back in the day, Michael Jordan was the only player with skill. Remember, Paul Pierce was on the show, KG, Ticket and the Truth, and KG completely went off talking about, you know, these new players. And this is where I think somebody in the league office got to him, right? And the reason I say that, when you're in the NBA media, you have a responsibility to help to grow the game. And a lot of what we're hearing about is complaints that the quote unquote old head players from the past, they're doing nothing but bashing the game and hating on the game, right? And you don't hear KG talking nearly the way he used to talk, right? The way he earned the right to talk after 19 years in the league, playing at some of the highest levels we had seen, right? So anyway, now we're hearing him talk about, you know, the goal is longevity, when just last summer, after Anthony Edwards' ignorant and disrespectful commentary to the past, talking about how back in the day, Michael Jordan was the only player that had skill, KG went on a rant on Ticket and the Truth, talking about how these guys are soft and how back in the day, it was a badge of honor to play 80 plus games or to make it to 82 games and all that. But now all of a sudden, you're hearing a very different tone, and I think it's disingenuous, but he also has a job to do, and people are cutting him a check as well. So he can't destroy the league that he's supposed to be covering and supposed to be speaking to. So no, you're right. No one speaks to, well, no, I can't even say that because I've spoken to it many times, but I've spoken to it in a different light in terms of speaking to his toughness and durability, right? Because I think Stockton played 19 years and he played 80 plus games 17 times. And I want to say he played 82 games like 13 times, including deep playoff runs. So, but we'll go on with this clip, but I found it really, really shocking that KG immediately went to this longevity thing. And I'm not saying there's no truth to it and that it doesn't make any sense what he's about to say. I'm saying it was shocking coming from him because this is a dude just a few months ago that was railing about how these guys are soft and how, you know, where is the toughness and where is the badge of honor that it used to be to, you know, to play all these games every season. But let's go ahead.
You know, obviously, you know, it always goes back to these old and new lenses that we look through. The league gave these kids a chance to be able to rest their bodies and have chances to where it was so much on the league. Nobody actually said anything. Nobody actually stood up for it. Bron, and I can say that this group of guys who have led the last 15, 20 years, they've made it a precedent about rest. I think the league does need to give the guys more rest. I think All-Star should go from actually Wednesday to Saturday.
So this is insane. KG, one of the dogs of all dogs, one of the physical beasts, even though he wasn't a big guy, one of the absolute psychos on the floor who did everything he could do to be on the floor. Now he's talking about old and new lenses. See, this is what I'm talking about, where you can hear in his language, because he doesn't talk like that somebody got to him. And then also you're hearing, well, I think the league should give these guys more rest. Are we serious? Are we serious? They already took away back-to-backs. They already extended the All-Star break, right? Years ago, they already tried to take all the physicality out of the game. What are they giving more rest for? What are they giving more rest for? Like, you got the top players making hundreds of millions of dollars, right? What is I think the average NBA salary, right? So remember, average is done by including all the salary ranges, adding them up and dividing them by the number of players. The average NBA salary is now $12 million a year. $12 million freaking dollars a year. What do you need more rest for? Are we kidding? Are we kidding? Come on, man. There we go. Okay, great one. Thank you, Laker Nation. Wow, I didn't realize that was the exact number. John Stockton missed 22 games in 19 NBA seasons when the league was a lot more physical. Now, I will say, clearly, if you're able to do that, you're also blessed with some great genetics. But come on, that's crazy. That's crazy. Young disciple. Yes, you're right. Pop started load management. I agree. Now it's taken to a totally different level. But my earlier point still stands, right? This is the player empowerment era. So if you got these players, right, they got all this power. If they want to play, they should be like, nah, I'm not sitting. I'm healthy. I'm going to play. Because I guarantee you weren't going to tell Mike that he was going to load manage. You weren't going to tell Kobe that he was going to load manage. You're like, nah, I'm going out there. I'm playing. Yeah, Laker Nation. Yep, injuries are up and the game is less physical. But KG is now out here lobbying for these players to get more rest. This is so disingenuous. But let's carry on, because at the end of the day, he still has to defend his league, the league that he loves, the league that he covers, the league that made him a multimillionaire, right? Able to, live beyond his wildest dreams. He has to defend that against what he feels is an attack from PK Subban.
You know what I'm saying? Because the guys got to actually work Saturday, Sunday. They actually got to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they don't really get a break. And then what? They get Monday, Tuesday. They got to travel since for the league. I get it. I heard the debate. I heard it. But at the same time, hockey doesn't do anything for culture. Y'all don't talk about how actually black men and a group of black men that moved to Nova Scotia actually founded the game and then got ousted out of the game. You hear?
That's a great point. That is a great point. And that's something, again, I don't follow the hockey media, but I don't believe that is something that is, and I knew about it, but I don't believe it's something that's highlighted enough. It may be, and maybe I just don't know because I don't follow hockey enough and follow the hockey media the way I should. But that is something that should, in my humble estimation, get more attention and get more, wide level and mainstream play. I agree there. He's right on that one. I think a lot of people don't know that.
I mean, yeah, I didn't. I was trying to understand. I heard both. I heard his part about hockey, but yeah, man, the league is in this new lens, and
Look,
this
from the
league
very
is not through the old lens. And this league is a marathon. It ain't necessarily what you're doing now. It's like what you're doing now, what you're doing later, and then what you're doing 5, 10 years from now. And that's how you see the longevity of LeBron. And I think that's the way that the league gonna do. But to beat up another sport to like glorify your own, I wasn't feeling that. And then two, we got different rules for reasons. We are a passionate sport. We are an emotional sport. Hockey, to me, when I watch those guys, are passionate too. But man, you gotta imagine going into a setting where, and then you talking about teaching kids, imagine going into a setting where, you want to fight. I don't know if they've been watching, bro, but ain't nobody fighting today.
So this is, all right, I'm going to let him finish this, then I'm going to come back. This was interesting where he took this.
These kids got switches out here, dog. Ain't nobody squaring up fighting. Then you better have some composure about yourself, bro. Man, get bowled in the face in the Western Conference game by one of your good friends, and then have some composure.
Okay, so he's talking about these kids got switches. So I'm assuming that's his lingo. That's his vernacular for having a firearm, for having a pistol. I'm assuming that's what he's trying to say. It's so funny, man, because obviously I got an 8-year-old son. When I heard him say, these kids got switches, first thing I thought about was a Nintendo Switch. My son's always playing his, but yeah, so it was interesting. But it's funny that now KG is talking about, encouraging people to communicate and work things out without fighting, when he was one of the most rowdy, hot mouth type dudes when he was playing for his whole career. Always ready to fight, always saying something greasy. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of wild. But also, we know, right? And this is also a man trait, right? Like you can be out there competing, get into a fight, and go back to competing, and when it's over, you get that person a pound and move on. I'm not saying it always goes that way, but I know, Edward. I know. I haven't heard that term before, right? I heard, the heater, the burner, the gat, whatever, but the blammer, the banger. I never heard a switch though. That's a new one. So yes, I do have to catch up. But yeah, so anyway, I thought it was so interesting just coming from Kevin Garnett, but let's continue.
Because what you need to teach the kid at home is that, boy, it's a boy out here bigger than you, hit harder than you, he faster than you and all that. And that's reality. And these kids that don't want to fight pulling switches, man, he got a bigger switch and all that. So, yeah, the thing is to teach being a bigger person, talking and communicating and resolving. Yeah, I saw his whole spiel. I wasn't feeling that, though. You know what I'm saying? Respects to hockey and them trying to get their viewership right. But, yeah, until they tap into some culture, I don't know what that's going to be.
So, again, okay, so they tap into some culture. So let's just say, hypothetically, they tap into this culture that KG is talking about. Cool. Then what? Does that make what PK Subban is saying, does that make it more viable to KG? Does that make him have more respect for that commentary? Does that make him realize, like, damn, oh, man, PK was right about what he was saying about we got to fix the NBA. If the NHL has more, quote unquote, culture, like, I don't know, man. I don't think he did the best job standing up for his league and for his position. Maybe he should have thought about this, wrote it down, took some notes first, then come back and addressed it. I think he did a poor job trying to defend it. KG did some wild-ish when he played. However, it's called maturing. I'm not mad at him defending his sport. Nah, Laker Nation, I'm not mad at him defending his sports at all. And yes, over time, you will mature. We all do. We all have. I just, like I said, certain things sound odd coming from him, especially, and yes, you can mature over a short period of time, but especially when he just finished like going off just last summer on Ant Edwards and these soft cats in the modern league, and how it was such a badge of honor to try and play 82 games. And now a few months later, 6 months later, he said, oh, I believe the league should give these guys more rest. Like, what happened in that short amount of time? Did you learn something physically, anatomically? Have you, you know what I'm saying? Have you been studying sports medicine that you realize these players now need more time off? Like, I'm not following. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of weird. Your favorite hater, you dumb, man. He about to pull out that Nintendo when McClung cooks him. Man, he about to pull out that Switch, boy. He about to pull out that Switch, Lord. But no, let's see. Let's be honest. Majority of people watch hockey for the fight. I don't know if the majority of people watch hockey for the fights. I think people who watch hockey know hockey, so they watch it for the game. The fights are an added enjoyment, right? Human beings like to see violence. We like to see fights. It just is what it is. What was it? Was it Sunkissed on the Tony Touch Peacemaker album? This is like year 2000 maybe. Sunkissed, Reef Hustle, and Big Pun. And the guy says, starting hockey fights, Tyson lefts, Rocky rights. Yeah, I just thought about that. Yeah. So, I mean, no doubt some people watch hockey for the fights, but I think that people who watch hockey because they like the sport and they want to see it. I think hockey is a really skilled game. I mean, obviously it has the goons, but it's a real skill game. So you gotta be skilled and you gotta know what you're doing to play that. But anyway, this was my thoughts on some really good commentary on both sides. One from KG, one from PK Subban, kind of just discussing NBA versus NHL mindset, and just kind of, again, to put a pin in it or a bow or whatever you want to call it. It's definitely apples to oranges, right? It's two different situations, but I understand where both of the guys are coming from. Although I think that PK Subban was a bit disingenuous because you can't compare them exactly, and I think KG was a bit disingenuous because we know who he was as a player and we know the stuff he was saying just a few months ago. But also, I think that KG, he just did a poor job overall in defending his sport. I don't know if he just did a poor job articulating his thoughts, but overall, I think like if that was a debate, I think KG lost that for the NBA. So It is what it is. Edward, that's not gonna happen, man. I'm not. Listen, I don't know him, so I can't quote him. I don't know him. But anyway, wait, you bet. Who's from up north? Who's from up north, Edward? Let me know. Why he got to be a lame young disciple? Because you don't agree with him. You don't agree with him, so that's why he's a lame. Yeah, but so who is it that's from up north, Edward? Let me know. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on that. I thought it was a really good topic. Definitely had me interested when I was listening to some stuff about it over the last couple of days, and then I was listening to some more stuff while I was working out this morning. So I say, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this on the show. All right, 2 topics down, but I'm gonna go ahead, open up the phone lines, hoping maybe somebody calls in and maybe we hear something regarding that. Yeah, so I think Edward, I think his name is Reef Hustle. I think that was the first verse on the song. And yeah, I think he's a New York cat. It was Reef Hustle, Sunkissed, and Big Pun on the song. And it was fire though. It was a fire. This is a tough song. It's on the Tony Touch Peacemaker first album. So check that out. Matter of fact, I'll send it to you later. Edward's like, no. But yeah, I'm not quoting no down south rappers, man, because I don't know them. Not because I have a problem, just because I don't know them. So I can't quote that for you. But yeah, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Go ahead, give me a shout. I would love to hear from anybody who has something to say about this topic. Here we go. Laker Nation, what's good, my brother? How are you? Good evening.
I am blessed as always, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What you got?
What made you do a show tonight, man? You kind of blindsided me with it.
No, like I said, I was just working out this morning, and a lot of times when I'm working out, I'm listening to podcasts, catching up on the stuff I didn't get to from the day before. So I wake up early. If I'm out walking the dog or whatever, I got podcasts on. I'm working out, podcast on. Taking my son to school, podcast on. So all that stuff just gives me ideas, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do a show, get some more content out there. Man, we trying to do this thing, man. You don't understand. Trying to make the Format Podcast blow, bruh.
I ain't mad at you, brother.
Yeah, man.
No, this is not this wasn't you, though. I thought it was like it was a replay, but then I was like, no,
okay.
We ain't never talked about this.
Right.
So that's the reason why I checked it out, because I was about to step out. But
okay.
Then, but
I appreciate
it. Let me hear what Bruce talked about.
No doubt.
But yeah, it was funny because we were just discussing this earlier.
Okay.
And I wanted to prick your brain about this situation, because I was talking about it with a couple of my colleagues. They want to pick on me because I'm a Laker fan. They was like, "Hey man, what you think about this?" I was like, "Man, y'all need to sit out somewhere." I'm up down here surrounded by Heat fans, but they ain't got nothing else to talk about. So
right.
They ain't doing nothing. So
right.
They want to harass me about my Lakers every day. But then we were talking about, but this came up about the hockey guy saying what he had to say about the. And one of my boys made a point. He was like, I respect what he said, but the fact that it came from him, I don't respect it.
Okay.
And I was like, why? I was like, you're not a basketball dude. He a hockey dude. It's like, that's like you being in the military and somebody clowning one of your guys in your unit, and he's from the outside.
Right.
It's like, there's no respect there.
Well,
like, you gotta bet, but it was, what you gonna say?
Pardon me. My analogy for that would be, so I served in the Army, right? And that would, I get what you're saying. What you're saying, I think the closer analogy would be like how Transformer and I go at it, right? Because he's in Navy and I'm Army, right? So we go back and forth. So while it's apples to oranges, but we're still in the same fruit basket. You know what I'm saying? We're still both I don't want to say we're both fruits, but you get the point though, right? So
Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that, man.
No, I'm not saying.
Like, oh, fruit.
Right. But no, the general premise is that we're still kind of in the same family there, right? So yes, we are different, but we're both service people, so we can kind of talk across that bridge, and that's kind of what I think it is with the PK Subban and Kevin Garnett, right? So they're different branches, but they're both the highest that people could, well, not the highest because KG's a Hall of Famer and this guy's not, but they're both professional athletes, which is technically the highest level, right? And so he feels he can say that. Now, again, I spoke to it. Clearly you can hear the bias towards hockey and its culture, understandably, because that's his game. And I'm not saying there is, but there could be some jealousy because, the NBA is making so much more money for doing presumably so much less. And so I see both sides of it. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, they say that. Like, I don't like that they made more money or whatever. But even though I think that might be the premise, but we know the NBA can do better.
Yes.
We know he can do better.
Mm-hmm.
But like what he was trying to say is like we don't need no outsider trying to tell us what needs to be done when we already know it needs to be done. But at the same token, what my pushback to him is, well, maybe the guys that make the decision need to hear it from other athletes,
right?
And maybe they'll take it. Maybe they'll take it more serious,
exactly,
than just hearing it from ex-players and thinking they just bitter old heads hating on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because I always say just because you ink a huge deal, don't mean that you're doing better.
Correct.
Just as you got it, it can be voided.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you go because I got some more for the last topic. Cause I know you. Cause I already got a feeling. I know what you're about to say.
You don't know what I'm about to say, man.
I have a feeling I know what you're about to say.
You don't know what.
Call in with some pushback on you.
You don't know what I'm about to say, man.
As long as there ain't no shots at my Lakers, that's all good.
I'm not taking shots at your Lakers, man.
You do that every show, bro. You do it every show. But I am gonna say gonna say this. The same thing I told him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you come out and put yourself on in tier one, the top tier, then you have to meet all the requirements that dudes that came before you that were placed in the top tier, not put themselves there. So, and one of those requirements is being the face of the league.
Yeah.
And what distinguishes you as the greatest ever is how you lead the game when you step away.
Right. And honestly, I don't think the game is in a better place right now than it ever has been. It's making money, but I don't know that the game itself is in a better place.
Well, there's certain people on this planet that you can't tell that to because their skulls is as big as a center block. You ever try to penetrate a center block?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
But you want to come out here but you want everybody else to conform to your opinion. No, it don't work that way.
Right.
Like I told them, I'm going to finish and then I'm going to get off. So so we can get into this last topic.
No doubt.
My thing is, Magic Bird, they were the face. They left the league in a better place.
Yeah.
MJ came in, left the league in a better place.
Yes.
Kobe came in, left the league in a better place. They passed the baton to the self-proclaimed, and the league is floundering. He doesn't represent of the face of the league. That's basically what it is. It starts there. The NBA is a copycat league. They're gonna copycat what people do. Everybody geared up to play better because they want to beat him, Jordan. And then he started the era of the shooting guards because what do little kids do? They emulate the face. They say they go out there, hit the park, they want to be the next Mike. And Kobe came along and everybody's like, oh, I want to be like Kobe. Now, these kids nowadays, I'm just gonna be straight up. They say they want to be like Steph.
Yeah.
I haven't had one of my players or anybody in high school, anybody younger say they want to be like LeBron.
So I think there's something to that, and this is not a shot at LeBron. I think that the reason they say that being like Steph is way more attainable than being like LeBron, right? Steph is almost like a regular person. LeBron is just such a magnificent physical specimen. Nobody can emulate that, right? Just like the whole Be Like Mike, that was a nice jingle and a nice campaign, but most people couldn't emulate that, and nobody can emulate trying to be like LeBron. So when you look at a guy like Steph, okay, he's 6'3", he's slim, he's not physically overwhelming, but he just put in the work on his game, like crazy work. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, he's got natural gifts to be in the NBA, right? He's got some genetic gifts. He obviously was in a position to develop his game. He had an NBA father, so on and so forth. So all that stuff helps. But it's a lot easier to say I want to be like Steph versus be like LeBron. So I think that has a huge role to play in it.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But my pushback is to this. It don't matter if you ain't physically gifted like that player or not. If that's your favorite, if that's your guy, and you play that sport, you're gonna try to emulate what they do.
That's true.
As far as their skill wise. So not everybody could dunk like Kobe.
Right.
But everybody worked on their footwork and mastered that fadeaway.
You're right. But let me here's an example, right? So I might have told this story when I was on this show before. I used to love Charles Barkley when I was younger, right? And that literally, I was in high school, I shaved my head because I love Charles Barkley, and I tried to play like him. That's what made me learn how to rebound, how to box out and go get the rebounds, even though I was never a great leaper or whatever. But Barkley rebounded, so I wanted to rebound. I wanted to play the block because he played the block. But then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm never going to be a power forward. Let me find a guard to try and emulate, right? So my mindset changed, and I said, okay, what guard can I try and Mitch Richmond? That's when I started becoming a fan of him. So the point I'm saying, your favorite hater, you bugging. But the point I'm trying to make is I think that when you perceive someone to be more attainable and more realistic goals-wise, that's why you're going to choose a Steph over a LeBron. You see what I'm saying? And that's no shot at LeBron. It's just he's too far removed from 99.9% of human beings to try and emulate. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, that's how I see it.
No, I don't, because I'm around young hoopers all the time.
Okay.
And I'm around young hoopers all the time. Been around them all my life, even when I was a kid.
Okay.
We get on the court. We hit a 3-year Reggie.
Right. We used to do that too.
We playing 21. we playing 21. We turn our backs. Drop step, hit that shimmy like Olajuwon.
Yup.
We do that drop step, hit that fadeaway like Jordan. Ain't nobody doing that, hitting the post and hitting that drop step, doing that fadeaway and you're on the Bronx. Ain't nobody shooting half-court shots saying, I'm going to say LeBron. Ain't nobody driving down the lane, bullying everybody and getting the N1. Say, I'm LeBron, and doing that retarded crap that he do. Ain't nobody doing it. I'll take that back. I've seen that maybe once or twice, and maybe in a high school game. I've seen that once. Everybody's saying Steph, or they hit a mid range, they be like KD, or they hit a no look pass and be saying Luka.
I was about to ask you on the no look pass, who do they say now? Because obviously when we were growing up, that would have been Magic, or
No,
maybe
we were saying Magic. We were saying Magic, but now now it's all LaMelo Ball.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Melo.
Okay, that makes sense.
When they drive the lane, do those no looks, they're yelling. They're saying Melo.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
So, and I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, it's these are all factual. These are all factual. So, I'm not diminishing anybody. I'm just saying,
right.
The reason why if you're the face of the league, you're responsible for how the condition of the league is.
All right.
And if it's not in a better place, then that's on the league.
No
because
doubt.
you should have fixed it. You should have pivoted. You should have made somebody else the face if it's not working.
Right.
But
well,
that's because ratings are up in one game. It needs to be ratings up across the board. Because hey, when those guys play, ratings was up across the board. Even games when Orlando Magic was playing the Knicks, ratings was up because you wanted to see Penny and Shaq go up against Ewing and Allen Houston and them boys.
Disciple, I would wager Kobe was face of the league probably from about right after Shaq left. So was that 04, 05 till about 2010? I would say that right around that time. But yeah, let's go ahead. You got anything else to add to that, Laker Nation?
Yeah, I really want to. I did it I remained as calm as possible. I'm gonna mention the Hornets game and the last game on the last topic. So those two games got my blood boiling.
Okay. We'll see.
I'm like it's this. I'll leave it for the last topic.
No doubt.
I'll leave it for the last topic because I'm about to go into it. And
yeah, I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. Maybe I'll surprise you with the direction I go. But all right, cool. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on that.
All right,
brother. All right. Did anybody else want to make a call in real quick on this topic? And then after that, we'll move to the final one. Anybody else? I give another 30 seconds. Somebody call in if you want to address this topic. All right. Final topic. So, how do I start this? So we hear, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of people out there, NBA fandom, NBA media, who think LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. Oh, hold on, y'all. Let's back up. Main man Bruce calling. Let's go ahead and take that call. Bruce, what's good, my brother? How are you?
What's going on?
Maintaining. How you doing?
First of all, I'll listen to I was listening.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Mentally weak, yo. Don't you ever in your life say that.
All right, go ahead.
LeBron, game 6 in Boston. That's mentally weak?
No, it wasn't. But it's real funny. It's real funny that you guys can jump to like 2, maybe 3 games max out of a 22-year career. Yeah, it's funny how y'all always jump to that game 6 in Boston, which was an absolute demolition, by the way. LeBron, I would say that's the best game I've ever seen him play. I would say that's better than the 48 special. He absolutely destroyed my guys. There's no question about it. That's the best game I've ever seen him play. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take your time.
And who cares what a hockey player got to say about the NBA? Don't nobody watch hockey.
Well, that's not really true, but go on.
Who watch hockey? I'm talking about, come on now. But no, I get what he's saying, though. Like, I understand his frustration. We all feel that way. We all feel if they all. These guys are quarter billionaires, man. They ain't got no passion to play no ball no more like that to the playoffs. They ease through the regular. You already know that's the formula now. They ease through the play. They ease through the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
They ease, look how the Lakers play for the past 3 years. They get in. They don't turn up to after the All-Star break. They get sent through the play-in. How many years in a row they got in? They ease through the regular season. There's an ease thing. They don't play hard in every game. That's the big problem that people don't like. I get it though. I get frustrated. People like that way with a hockey player. He was a little biased.
He was, and I think I admitted that.
You need to play with passion, like, but you know why? NBA players are spoiled brats. They're the rich kids.
yeah, they are.
LeBron, billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum, goddamn, a half a billionaire. What do you got, a $300 million contract?
315 now. Yeah, 315. Mm-hmm.
Contract, 100 and something?
Yeah, he's made a lot of money in his career.
Yeah, Kevin Durant and them, they half a billion. They got half a billion. James Harden, half a billion. They super rich. And they got their privilege. They not going to play hard through the regular season. They still afraid they're going to get hurt. But the crazy thing is, you're afraid you're going to get hurt. You out there bullshit, you're going to get hurt.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. Like, comparatively, for his era, Kobe made a ton of money, but he was still out there busting it, giving it 100%. And obviously the money. Yeah, go ahead.
He played with a torn Achilles one game, didn't he?
Say again.
He played with a torn Achilles one game.
He didn't play with He tore the Achilles, walked to the free throw line, shot the free throws, and then walked off. Yeah.
Hey, remember that year? Even Dwayne Wade, he was tough. Remember that year he played with the shoulder?
Yep. As a matter of fact, remember Kobe messed his shoulder up on his shooting arm, and he was out there playing left-handed, like fully left-handed. That was crazy. But yeah.
But players now, they nick a goddamn pinky finger, and they're 2 weeks.
Well, I got to tell you, man, a lot of that is my guy Embiid, unfortunately.
You say what, Bruce?
I said, unfortunately, a lot of that is my guy Embiid, man, and I got to be honest and objective about that, man. It's frustrating, but.
I just think Embiid getting free money. He can't be this damn injury prone.
Man, look, this is going to sound Embiid is walking up in the GM office with the blicky. He's like, yo, run that, because he sure ain't earning it.
Subban talk about the hockey players play hurt, injured, and all that. Huh?
Yeah, man, them guys tough, man. They different, man. They different.
They got to. They ain't getting that money like the NBA players getting, man. They ain't rich, man. They richy rich.
Right.
They abuse that. Listen, they're abusing their power right now, and there's no hope in sight. Unless there's a change in the guard of higher up. What you call me? Ain't got no goddamn heart. Adam Silver, like
not at all.
Not at all. Was banishing Sterling from the Clippers. He wasn't playing about that shit, but that racist shit, though.
Well,
I give him that.
He wasn't gonna mess with the money, right? And the players was like, we not gonna play for this dude. Everybody was like, we about to boycott if you don't get this guy up out of here.
Hey Bruce,
yes,
I would sit back watching you. I count how many times you do little subtle shots at LeBron.
Oh, what? What? Oh, man, I try to be very objective, man. I tried to be fair. What subtle shots I threw?
God damn, man.
What subtle shots did I throw, man?
You talking about he was mentally weak. He's not the play everybody think he is. About 3 or 4.
Okay.
You always throw a shot at him, though. But you did give him his props for being physically, you know what I mean, in shape, staying in shape. You did give him that.
Man. Yeah. Absolutely.
He's like a goddamn Marine when it comes to physicality, though. You give him that.
Yeah, no doubt.
You said LeBron mentally weak.
I do believe that. I do. Because think about it, right? This is a dude that if a fan yells something he don't like, he running straight to the referee, snitching and pointing like, get him up out of here. Like, come on, man. Come on. Remember when the fan yelled something that Mikey didn't like? Mike went and destroyed their team and then looked at him and did like this. He put his finger over his mouth like, just be quiet.
What if that white person called him a nigger?
Huh?
What if they called him a nigger? Excuse my language.
No, I got you. In that case, yeah, get up out of here. That's something different because like trash talk is one thing. There's no room for that. That's nah.
LeBron just told somebody get the referee. He had to say something derogatory. Come on, bro.
No. I think LeBron just feel like nobody should be able to talk to. Because remember, it was a few years ago. He was still with the Lakers, but somebody was one of the players was talking to him. He's like, you're not going to be talking trash to me. Like you so special that no one can talk trash to you. Like, this is basketball. That's part of basketball culture. People talk trash. You know what I'm saying? Gary Payton would have broke him mentally because Gary Payton said horrible things to people.
Gary Payton got cachet. Yeah, he was talking a fucking scrub talking shit to me. Yeah, I'm gonna say nothing. You know why?
But guess what? Just shut up and destroy him. That's all. Because look, is a scrub going to talk greasy to Mike? Is a scrub going to talk greasy to Kobe? Nope. Because they know bad things are going to happen after that. Now LeBron has the capability to destroy a scrub. So don't even worry about it. If they talking wrong to you, go kill them. Say again.
Always remember, LeBron is the alpha and the omega.
You got it, bro.